part to make our world, our connections, and relationships a lot more brighter. They say agrobeswa, ne frianopa. Start your day bright with MTN Kokroko. For only 1 Ghana cedi, you can enjoy 400 megabytes of data and 30 minutes of free MTN to MTN calls every day from 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. everywhere you go. Dial *138# to buy the MTN Kokroko bundle now.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
In real life, there's no buffering. So why accept it from your internet connection? Get connected and experience ultra-fast internet to the home from MTN. MTN Home, powered by MTN Fiber Broadband from the Internet Masters.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
In this part of the world, we're up long before the sun. Playing our part to make our world, our connections, and relationships a lot more brighter. They say agrobeswa, ne frianopa. Start your day bright with MTN Kokroko. For only 1 Ghana cedi, you can enjoy 400 megabytes of data and 30 minutes of free MTN to MTN calls every day from 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. everywhere you go. Dial *138# to buy the MTN Kokroko bundle now.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
Hello. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Council, Management and staff of the Ghana Stock Exchange, I wish to welcome you to the floor of the Stock Exchange. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this morning marks another significant milestone in the history of the Ghana Stock Exchange. Today we're listing and trading the shares of MTN Ghana on the Ghana Stock Exchange. But before we start with proceedings, I'd like to, with your permission, introduce a few dignitaries that we have in our midst. And I'll be grateful if you can acknowledge them with rounds of applause as I introduce them. I have the singular honor to, before then, I would like to apologize on behalf of Mr. Kofi Yamwa, who could not be here this morning for some unavoidable reasons, but he is here with us in spirit. So please note that he's not here. Before we go on, I have the singular honor to introduce the Honorable Minister, Deputy Minister for Communication, Mr. Vincent Odote. Mr. Odote, please, with all due respect, thank you very much. Mr. Ishmael Yamson, the MTN Ghana Board Chairman. It's interesting and significant that Mr. Yamson is here. Mr. Yamson served on the Ghana Stock Exchange Council from 1991 to 1994. I think that part of their vision has shaped what we are now. Mr. Yamson, you're very welcome. We also have in our midst the Managing Director, that is the CEO of MTN, Mr. Salom Adadibo. We have here Mr. Kenneth Ashibe, CEO of Telecoms Chamber. Mr. Albert Asian, the Council Chairman of Ghana Stock Exchange. Mr. Kweku Sechiado, the Board Chairman of NCA. Reverend Daniel Obami Tete, Director General, Securities and Exchange Commission. We have Mr. David Eward Dako, Chairman, IC Securities. Mr. Yao Abalu, CEO of CSD. Mr. Kwabna Osei Boateng, MD of IC Securities. We have in our midst a whole lot of executives from MTN. May we please have you wave at us so we know all executives of MTN. Those of you who have witnessed listing ceremonies on the floor may attest the fact that this is a very short ceremony, but significant, deep, and it's full of speeches which are thought-provoking, which make declarations and some other stuff. I mean, gives us some history. So, we'll not to waste so much time, would like to start by inviting the Deputy Managing Director of the Ghana Stock Exchange, Mr. Ekwa Feizi, to give us his welcome remarks.
Good morning, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Yesterday when I was living here, I just took a look at this room, and what I saw was quite interesting. All yellow, all yellow. So today is Yellow's Day. So I decided to also wear a yellow tie. Deputy Minister of Communication, Honorable Vincent Odute, Mr. Shimon Yamsen, Chairman of MTN, Mr. Salom Adadivo, CEO of MTN, the Chairman of Council of the Stock Exchange, other directors of MTN, Reverend Obami Tete, Director General of SEC, Mr. Albalu, CEO of CSB, the CEOs of LDMs gathered here, the brokerage community, also see some significant shareholders of MTN here, members of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. The exchange is honored today by your presence on the trading floor for the official listing of MTN Ghana Limited, a momentous occasion in the history of the exchange. You are all welcome to the exchange. Today, MTN Ghana Limited is being officially listed, having gone public and invited the investing public to be part of the company. This listing is significant and historic for many reasons. Very historic. One, it is the largest IPO ever in the history of the stock exchange, 28 years and over. They raised over 1 billion Ghana cedis, more than twice that of the last one. It has the largest number of shareholders, over 128,000 shareholders. I was asking the chief executive, where is he going to hold his AGM? Maybe he has to combine the 3 stadia in Ghana or 4 and have the AGM. But BMTN, you see, they will do it, they'll go digital, which is quite interesting. For the first time, we use mobile money, mobile application in the purchasing of shares in Ghana. It must be the first in Africa. I'm sure I'm right. That is the first in Africa. And I think they need some applause for that. The exchange is very proud of this feat, and it's also the first telecommunication company to be listed on this market. It's going to have a very significant impact on our exchange. That is the listing of MTN. It's going to increase our market value or market capitalization by as much as 9 billion Ghana cedis. It's taking our market cap from 55 billion to 65 billion, a whooping 16% increase. It's going to increase our number of listed companies to 40. It's going to improve liquidity on this market because of the large retail investor base. For us at the exchange, this is what we expect companies to do in Ghana. We expect private companies to go out there, raise money, and list and provide opportunities for Ghanaians to create wealth. At the same time, be able to expand, provide job opportunities for the youth, and also contribute greater taxes so that we can also develop the country as a whole. The stock exchange is 28 years. We've created 3 market segments. We have the main equity board. We have the gas board, which is the Ghana Alternative Board, Market Board. Then we recently created what we call the Ghana Fixed Income Market, which is a secondary bond market. We've done quite well over the past years. Significantly, last year the market went up by 52%. One of the best in Africa, if not the whole world. This year the market has gone up by just 13%. But we're hoping that with MTN coming, we're going to see more activities on this market. But we do have challenges. We do have two main challenges. One is how to get more listed companies on this market. We still have just 40. We are 28 years old. Average of about 2 a year or less than 2 a year. We need to get more on this market. And therefore, that is something that we'll be addressing going forward. We need to also improve liquidity on this market. Liquidity is as low as below 5%. That is when you compare the value of trades to the market value. It's below 5%. So those are the two main challenges. And what are we doing as an exchange? Led by the Council of the Exchange, in our medium strategic plan, we intend to do, among other things, some of the things I'm going to mention. One, we want to facilitate the development of Ghana as a financial hub in Africa as part of the government's agenda. This, we've decided we will assist the government to do by creating Ghana as a financial hub. We'll make sure policies are developed to make Ghana Stock Exchange an attractive investment destination for issuers and investors, and thereby contribute significantly towards the development of this economy. At least MTN has shown the way. MTN has shown that it's possible to do it, and therefore, as an exchange, we strongly advocate that licensing of companies in the banking, insurance, energy, and mining sectors are also allowed to follow suit like the telecoms have done, where you make it mandatory for them to also float a little of their companies to the Ghanaian public, so that some of the wealth they generate in Ghana can stay in Ghana. And to us, that is the only way we can see some of these huge multinationals and other companies contributing to our economy apart from the taxes that are being paid. With the passage of the Securities Industry Act, new products will be developed. We intend to create what we call asset-backed securities to improve the mortgage market. We intend to create what we call borrowing and lending facility in the trading system, and as well as market making in order to boost liquidity on our market. The bond market established in 2015 has seen massive improvements in liquidity. For those who have not heard, let me just mention a few figures and you get to understand why I'm saying the bond market has seen market improvement in liquidity. In 2015, 10 billion cedis worth of bonds were traded. In 2016, 16.7 billion cedis worth of bonds were traded. In 2017, 30 billion cedis worth of bonds were traded. More than doubled the value of bonds traded on this market within 2 years. And as we speak, we're hovering around 17, 18 billion. We intend to introduce new products in this market. We will introduce what we call repos, repurchase agreements for trading on this market to boost liquidity. We will pursue public education in order to introduce more Ghanaians to buying and selling of bonds on the market. And we'll launch this market officially by the end of the year. One thing which is also dear to my heart and to the exchange is the mobile money technology, or is the mobile technology. We intend to introduce mobile trading of securities next year. MTN has paved the way, and we will rely on MTN to show us how they did it, and so that we can expand it to all the other shares on the market. So we will surely make sure that we move towards mobile trading of securities in order to make it convenient and also to improve liquidity on this market. The other thing that we will always do is to promote investment culture in Ghana. We will pursue comprehensive educational program on investments. And we hope this will improve the situation where Ghanaian investors will not invest in instruments which promise heaven, but they deliver hell. 5%, 10% per month. Some of them will tell you it is a gold derivative and you get 10%. Then when it comes to the return, they give you nothing or something very little. And that is hell. We'll make sure that we'll educate investors to understand the importance of return and risk. Very important. Together with shareholders, other stakeholders, we established the Ghana Alternative Market. It's been slow in developing, and we will try and make sure that we promote that aggressively to enable more Ghanaian SMEs to develop the culture of raising capital through the issuance of bonds and also equity. All these strategic initiatives are geared towards making the capital market relevant in the economic development of this country. We wish MTN well and expect them to be extremely forthcoming with disclosure on any issue that is price sensitive. In other words, once you're on the market, you need to abide by our disclosure requirements. Quarterly results, full year results, any price sensitive information. If you develop another Momo, you have to mention it. Because that can impact on your share price. And that is why disclosure is very, very important. And don't forget, Ghanaians love dividends. So stick to your dividend policy. If you have a dividend policy, make sure you stick to it. Because Ghanaians will hold you if you don't pay them dividends. On behalf of the Council of the Exchange, I must express our sincere gratitude to all those who helped in achieving this feat. The Board of Directors of MTN, the former CEO who is not here, NCA, for coming out with such a policy and implementing it. Very often, government institutions come out with policies and do not implement them. But this was done. IC Securities, the lead managers, we thank you so much. All the brokers and banks that were receiving agents, and finally, the exchange staff who worked tirelessly to make this lesson happen. But I cannot sit down without mentioning the name of one person who quietly has been helping in developing this market. I told him I'll mention it. He has brought 3 companies to this market. But most people have not noticed it. He brought Unilever. They did the first biggest merger in Ghana between Lever Brothers and USC. For those of you who are old enough to have seen USC and Lever Brothers. He brought Boy&So Oil. And now he's bringing MTN. I think he deserves a standing ovation. And that is Mr. Ishmael Liamson. Mr. Liamson, thank you so much. We hope you'll bring more. Let me finally say, Ayuko to MTN. You brightened this place. It's all yellow. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Faizi. I think he deserves another round of applause. Now, GAC has spoken. We'd like to hear from the regulators, SEC. So the next is Reverend Ogbamitete. And before he comes, I'd like to acknowledge the presence of the MTN Group executives who are here. Please wave for us to see you, the group. And then we also have some members of the GSC Council also here. Mrs. Letitia Safo Ado and Ms. Enyonam Dagaju, they are here. Thank you very much. Reverend Ogbamitete.
Some of us always have to do some adjustments when we stand behind the podium. Honorable Deputy Minister for Communications, chairman of the council of the Ghana Stock Exchange, the MD of the stock exchange, who is not here, deputy MD, board chairman of MTN, and all the other executives of MTN who are here, the managing director of IC Securities, and all the other executives, including your chairman, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I am very much delighted to be present at this occasion to witness the listing of the shares and the inauguration of the trading of MTN on the first list of the Ghana Stock Exchange. I take this opportunity to congratulate the boards of MTN Group and MTN Ghana, the National Communication Authority, the Ghana Stock Exchange, IC Securities, Menti Inchel, Lecha, and Akoma. These are all people or institutions behind what we are witnessing today, which has taken almost 2 years, if not 3, of hard work, culminating in the successful initial public offer and the listing of MTN Ghana today. I think Mr. Afezi has already mentioned how historic this is, the largest IPO in the history of the stock exchange here in Ghana. There's a saying that it is impossible until it is done. And well, those who doubted at the beginning can all attest that this has been successful. I'm excited that the listing of MTN also, in a sense, brings an end to the listing drought, which the main boss has witnessed, I think, since 2016. It also is a major milestone because MTN will be the first telco to be listed on the Ghana Stock Exchange, and of course the largest IPO, as has been said. I hope other multinational companies will be motivated by the MTN example and also follow suit to deepen our capital market. I think I also like to acknowledge the innovation of this offer, which witnessed the share subscription through the mobile phone. And I will urge IC Securities and all the relevant parties to ensure that the necessary KYC processes are completed to make sure that they have the liberty to trade their shares and not have them blocked in the nominee account at the CSD for too long. One of the things which I know is critical when it comes to the securities market is confidence. And I think we have, in the recent past, had a few occurrences which seems to threaten the confidence in the securities market. But I'm excited that MTN has come through, and the success shows that we have a market that can work. And so before I take my seat, I'd like to urge all players to contribute their quota in making the market work. When it comes to giving confidence to capital, there are a few elements that are important. Disclosure is one of them. Transparency is one of them. Ethical and effective leadership, especially through corporate governance, is also one of them. Strong regulation is also one of them. And I would urge the various players to take up the challenge where they are concerned. I think disclosure and transparency, especially for listed securities, is important. The Commission has already talked about a corporate governance code that we expect listed companies to adhere to. We shared the draft that we had put together with the market, and we've had some feedback. and I can confirm that we'll be issuing it out shortly, and we'll expect that the various listed companies would go by what has been prescribed in the code. From where I sit as a regulator, there are three things that we are going to emphasize going forward to ensure that we help the agenda of the government in positioning Ghana as an international financial services hub. One is market development, two is enforcement, and then three is education. Market development, enforcement, and then education. And we believe that a time should come, if I can ride on the tagline of MTN, we believe that the time should come that everywhere you go in Ghana, there should be people patronizing capital market products. And we are committed to providing the vibrant and innovative regulatory framework to support market development. Investor education, education of market operators, and of course, deepening education of even the staff at the Commission will constitute another important focus, because we believe that one of the ways to ensure that the investors are protected is when we have knowledgeable people at various levels, not only at the supply side, but also at the demand side. Then the last emphasis is on enforcement. In the past, a number of operators may have gone away with certain ways of operations which haven't inured to the benefit of investors. We'd like to say that we are deepening our muscle as a commission to ensure enforcement. And we believe that we want a win-win situation. So may all our operators take a good look at what is required of them, and let compliance be very paramount in your scheme of things, so that together we can have a market that is vibrant, a market that is growing, a market that gives confidence to investors out there. Let me, before I take my seat, thank MTN for their commitment and dedication and to stick with this particular listing. And I'd like to urge you to continue to uphold good corporate governance standards that will propel excellent performance and which will maximize shareholder value and thereby attract more investors to our market. So warm welcome to MTN, and may other multinationals follow suit. May God continue to bless the stock exchange, all the listed companies, including those that are coming, and all of us here in Ghana. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Reverend. I must say that when Reverend outlined the things that the Commission intends to do, he places a lot of emphasis on enforcement. The way he forcefully mentioned enforcement shows that those of us in the market should be aware. Thank you. We now have an address by the lead transaction managers, represented by Mr. Pabna Osei Boateng, ICCPT.
Good morning, everyone. You probably need to bring this down. I'm not as tall as I'm feeling very honored in my yellow tie today. Hopefully after this I'll get an MTN shirt for all the work I've done. Deputy Minister of State, heads and officials of regulatory and other government institutions, the MTN team, both in SA and here, members of the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. You'll hear this a lot today. This is really an historic day in the development of the Ghana capital markets. The team have talked about the number of years that we have spent working on this. We started thinking about this 4 years ago. So after 4 years of work and help from too many people, that's more than I can count, I am happy that we're here today to mark such a historic occasion the listing of MTN Ghana on the Ghana Stock Exchange. We at IC Securities are truly honored to have played an important part in such a landmark transaction, and we didn't do this alone. I want to make sure that this speech today is really around thanking all those who have helped us make this happen. First of all, let me thank MTN Ghana and MTN Group for giving us such an incredible opportunity. We really enjoyed this precedent-setting journey. To the various ministries, telecoms, communications, finance, we thank you for your support through this process. To the NCA, we wouldn't be able to do this without localization. We hope other regulatory bodies will also do localization so that there can be more transactions like this. We thank you for this and so much more. SEC, GSC, CSD. As usual, IT Securities was trying to do something new. So we thank you for your patience, your flexibility, and your support in making us achieve this objective. I don't think I've seen anyone from NPRA here, but we thank you for allowing pension funds to buy this. We had many conversations around whether pension funds could support this transaction, and we are glad that in the end you were able to help us make that happen. Stanbic, the escrow bank, our fellow brokers, receiving banks, we thank you for working tirelessly with us. We had many rounds of reconciliation, and you had the DG of the SEC talk about ID verification and so on. We thank you for your help through that process, and as we continue on that process, we look forward to working with you as well. To our fellow advisors, South Capital, Sentinel Global, Bentinches, Lankoma, KPMG, it's been a remarkable journey. As I said, 4 years of work, and we are grateful that we went on this journey with you. And we look forward to working on many more transactions together. I want to thank especially the staff of MTN Ghana. Too many more than I can name. Guido, Gina, many others. Thank you so much for your work. Without you, we couldn't have done this. And hopefully after this, we can leave you to go to your day jobs. Well, but you have to pay for the closing dinner first. Everyone at IT Securities, Dare and Inflection, you are really the backbone of this. We were trying to do something new, and without you, we couldn't have done it. And thank you for the sacrifices. There are many people I could have named that I haven't named, so let me just say a general thank you. Before I get to the last and by no means least, and I want to echo Mr. Fizi's words in thanking Mr. Yamson, the board chairman of MTN Ghana, for your wise counsel, for your stern words when the stern words were necessary, and for your guidance throughout this process. As Mr. Fizi said, we hope that you will bring more companies to the exchange after Unilever and Bob and MTN Ghana, and we hope that in all cases you will hire IT Securities. Thank you.
IT deserves a round of applause. Thank you, Kabna. Now we need to hear from the new kid on the block, and that is MTN Ghana Limited. We have an address by the CEO, Mr. Salom Adadivo.
Let's see if I can adjust this to a suitable height, thanks to IC Securities. I think it's better. Okay. Honorable Deputy Minister of Communications, Mr. Vincent Odote, the NCA Board Chairman, Mr. Kweku Sechiado, the Director General of the NCA, I believe is on his way here now, Mr. Joe Anochi, the Deputy General Manager of the Ghana Stock Exchange, Mr. Eko Afeji, Reverend Daniel Ogbamitete, the Director of the Securities and Exchange Commission, Mr. Ashley Ricks, the President of the Ghana South Africa Business Chamber. I'm not sure if he's here. Mr. Kenneth Ashibe, the CEO of the Telecoms Chamber, the MTN Board Chairman, Mr. Ishmael Yamson, the MTN Board of Directors, and the executives of MTN Ghana, representatives of the financial institutions and brokers, CEOs and officials of IC Securities, CSD, South Capital, Sentinel Global, Bensi Angel, Lecturer Nankuma, and KPMG. Members of the media, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's indeed an honor to be standing here today to share in this great accomplishment. And I think several words have been used already. Today is indeed a historic day. Last night, I was Googling around and looking at other similar launches. And I want us to break a record today with the amount of noise we're going to make as I go through this speech. So why don't we start with a big round of applause for such a historic occasion. The record has not yet been broken, so we're going to need more of that. So I have the rare privilege to stand here today to announce MTN's biggest ever accomplishment, which is this IPO. Now, most of you would know that I arrived about 2 months ago, so a lot of work had already been done by several people, and I would acknowledge these people through. But just before we get in, I just want to say a big thank you to my predecessor, Mr. Ebenezer Chumasante, who led this for about 4 years. And I think he deserves a big round of applause and attention. Indeed, this is a story of MTN's continued accomplishments. And all of you have been a part of this great journey. But let me just start by acknowledging a couple of segments within this. And first of all, the employees of MTN who have demonstrated one of our core values, which is a can-do value, and have continuously helped us deliver at every stage. Like Quaps mentioned, it's been a 4-year journey, and a lot has gone into this. But there have been other people who have been supportive. The board of directors of MTN have continued to push on integrity and governance through this process, and I'm sure we're going to continue to get the support and direction from the board. So thank you again for all of this. Our regulators, starting with the Ghana Stock Exchange, for example, the support we've had through the process, the NCA for allowing us to be able to do this and supporting us through various iterations of what constitutes localization, and also embracing us for our leadership position in the industry. Today we celebrate a new relationship with our customers and our shareholders, and we're looking forward to announcing what the results of this IPO is. One of the moments and one of the things that makes us very proud about this is how we've managed to enable Ghanaians from all over the country to be a part of this great and historic day. The journey so far. This journey started before 2015, and over the last few years has changed in various forms, like I mentioned already. And several different people have been part of this, and I won't go down the list. But ultimately, we launched on May 29th, 2018, and most of you would remember at that launch, my predecessor, Ebenezer, talked about a lot of firsts. Thankfully, having come over 2 months later, I'm proud to be able to announce several other firsts that we will talk about as we go through this presentation today. Since May 29, we embarked on this listing as our preferred mechanism to satisfy the requirement for our 4G license, as most of you already know. The SEC approved a minimum 10% threshold that would qualify as success. And that amount was 347 million Ghana cedis. As most of you remember, when Mr. Eko Afeji was presenting, he talked about the first or the largest IPO on the Ghana Stock Exchange prior to this. And this minimum 10% of 347 million is actually higher than the highest ever IPO on the Ghana Stock Exchange. It had never been done before. MTN Ghana, we knew this was going to be a long journey. But as always, we drive and go for our challenges, and this was just one of them. 347 million, the minimum. We knew it had never been done before, So we started thinking, how do we do this? First of all, we had a number of things. The first thing we did was to say we had to change the way IPOs were done in Ghana for us to even be to have a remote chance of meeting this threshold. We adopted a marketing strategy that saw us launch the IPO in all the 10 regional capitals. We're present on TV, on radio, on print, on outdoor, on social media. We held several stakeholder engagements and workshops just to get the word out and educate the masses. Historically, IPOs are reserved for people that typically have money. The average Ghanaian doesn't have the opportunity to participate. We wanted to do something different. We thought about affordability. First of all, the threshold for entry has to be at a level where the average Ghanaian can participate. The price of a share for this IPO was 75 Ghana pesos. We also thought about inclusiveness. How can people actually get access to this IPO? Historically, you'd have to go to a bank, to IC Securities office. And if you're outside of Accra or outside of a big city, it's almost impossible for you to participate. So inclusiveness was critical for us. And this is where mobile money came into play. Today I'm excited, very excited, to have the opportunity to welcome many Ghanaians from all walks of life to participate in owning a part of MTN Ghana. The results of this IPO were amazing. And I've heard several words being used to describe this, and I'll reserve the best word for last. But amazing is just one of them. Groundbreaking is another one. But the best of all is that it's actually historic. And it's so historic that we need to break a record here with the applause. So I'm going to explain to you why this is such a historic feat. And some of you would already have heard from Reverend Obamitete and Mr. Ekoafeji as well. But I'll iterate some of these points for the purposes of having a second chance to hear the great historic metrics. First of all, we exceeded the minimum 10% that the Ghana Stock Exchange and the Securities Exchange Commission had set for us. And I think this deserves a round of applause. You're going to be clapping a lot. We raised 1.15 billion Ghana cedis, which was 3 times the minimum. Remember, the minimum was 347 million. So this was 3 times the minimum, which is simply amazing. In total, we had 128,152 applicants. Let me just repeat that. So 128,152 applicants. Most of you know that today the Ghana Stock Exchange does not have as many shareholders in total on the Ghana Stock Exchange. And we won't talk about the multiples because we'll talk about thousands. Of the 128,000, 127,826,000 were Ghanaians, which represents 99.7% of the total applicants being Ghanaians. That's not all. Of these applications, of the total applications for this IPO, we had 85% of them that came through the mobile money platform. And this is about affordability and inclusiveness. And I think this is a fantastic feat. There was some confusion before what this actually means and the significance of using mobile money for this particular IPO. And I'll talk about that in a minute, so just hold on. But these 5 points, unprecedented in the history of the Ghana Stock Exchange. And I'm glad that MTN continues to lead the way and continues to be the first at breaking all these records and setting the pace for a different type of IPO going forward. But what does this mean to all of us? Most of you will probably not remember this, but I do. In 1996, MTN was the first telecoms company to launch a GSM network. The first. And we're going to hear a lot of first, continuing in my predecessor's speech at the launch of the IPO. I'm going to go through a number of different things here just to highlight what this means, not only for us as Ghanaians, not only for us as a company, but also for us as a business in Ghana. Beyond the first GSM network, MTN was also the first to launch 3G, and most recently the first to launch 4G LTE mobile. We're also the first in 2009 to launch mobile money. But this is all what happened before. What does this mean for this IPO? There are several firsts that I'm going to talk about specifically for this IPO. So please listen carefully. The first one. MTN is the first telco to launch an IPO on the Ghana Stock Exchange. The first telecoms company in Ghana to launch on the Ghana Stock Exchange. MTN is the first company to launch an IPO that launched in all the 10 regional capitals in Ghana. So a nationwide campaign. MTN is the first company to exceed 1 billion Ghana cedis in an IPO equity raise. Whew, so much more. MTN, the first company in an IPO to exceed 100,000 shareholders. In this case, actually 128,000 shareholders. Fantastic milestone. But that's not all. There's a few more. MTN is the first company to have more than 100,000 Ghanaian shareholders ever in the history of the Ghana Stock Exchange. In fact, the second largest to MTN was 10,000. And this is 127,000. So it's miles apart. MTN was the first company ever to launch an IPO using mobile money. And I think there was some confusion about whether this was the first in Ghana, the first in West Africa, the first in Africa. No, it's not. It's the first ever in the world. But what's next? What does the future look like for MTN? It's extremely bright, by the way, and I'm sure if you can tell from this colorful yellow tie here, I'm sure you'd agree. First of all, in order not to upset the regulators, I want to confirm and reassure the regulators that we're going to continue, as we have done in the last 22 years of MTN's existence, to honor the regulatory obligations, not only from our existing shareholders, but not only from our existing regulators, but from our new regulators as well, the SEC and the Ghana Stock Exchange. We're going to continue to drive our leadership in the telecoms industry with our plan to lead the delivery of a bold new digital world. We're also going to continue to brighten the lives of all our customers as well as our shareholders with innovative products and services, as we have done over the last 22 years. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, the new phase of our business, being a public company, is exciting for us. But we acknowledge the increased responsibility and management of our shareholders as well as our regulators. And we're more than ready for this journey with you. We're also excited to welcome to the MTN family over 127,000 Ghanaian shareholders and 128,000 new shareholders to the MTN family. I'd also like to thank each of you for being part of this journey, for all the effort you've put in based on your various roles. And I want to wish you and us an extremely bright future. Hooray to a historic day. Hooray to MTN. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Adadipo. With all the firsts having been mentioned here, I think that it's safe to say that currently MTN, after today, will be the crown jewel of the Ghana Stock Exchange. We look forward to which company would unseat them. We are nearing the tolling of the bell for the significant listing of MTN on the Ghana Stock Exchange. But before we do that, we'd like to hear from the guest speaker, who is Honorable Vincent Soa Odote.
To continue with the numerous firsts, I'm the first not to adjust the mic. And I'm also proud to be the first Minister of State to witness the trading of the telecoms. Let me find another first that I've also done so that I can also compete with MTN. Thank you very much, and you're welcome. I'm representing my Honorable Minister, Madam Esla Usu Ekofol, on this occasion, and ultimately His Excellency the President, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, on this milestone and historic day here, and as part of our Ghana Beyond Aid agenda and our digitalization program. A lot of the things that have been said, especially with the use of the mobile platform and everything, it's all part of the digitalization agenda, which we believe is laying a very solid foundation for the digital economy that we aspire to, and to push Ghana in the right direction. The Deputy Managing Director, Ghana Stock Exchange, Director General, Security and Exchange Commission, my good friend, the Chair of the NCA, Mr. Kweku Sechiado, the CEO of the Ghana Telecoms Chamber, the Chief Executive of MTN, the Chief Financial Officer of MTN Group, MTN Board Chair, and a giant of the financial ecosystem of Ghana, as has been said over the years. Other board members of MTN, the CEO of MTN, distinguished officials, friends from the media, ladies and gentlemen. Today marks another historic milestone, not only in the telecoms industry, but Ghana's capital markets. And I am delighted to be part of this event. As MTN Ghana carries out its first trading on the Ghana Stock Exchange this morning, I wish to commend everyone, including MTN Ghana, the NCA, the Ghana Stock Exchange, the Securities and Exchange Commission, and all those who have collaborated to make this event happen, for working together to ensure MTN meets its LTE licensing obligations. Most laudable, ladies and gentlemen, is MTN's decision to use the mobile money platform as part of the subscription channels to reach the wider segment of Ghanaians. The innovation is worth commending as it supports government's financial inclusion agenda and the United Nations SDGs 9 and 17, which prescribes fostering innovation and partnerships between governments and the private sector in the attainment of these goals. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, undoubtedly, MTN continues to demonstrate its vision in leading the delivery of a bold new digital world and its commitment to the growth and development of the Ghanaian telecoms industry. As a result of the innovation and flexibility introduced through the mobile money as a subscription platform, over 108,434 applicants, representing 84.6% of the total applicants subscribed using the mobile money platform. This is indeed another historic achievement within the global capital markets. By having Ghanaians as majority applicants with over 99.7% out of the total of 128,152 Ghanaians and investors have demonstrated their high confidence in the interest in the Ghanaian economy and our capital markets. The performance is also an indication of investor confidence in MTN as a leading telecoms company in the country. Ladies and gentlemen, Ghana has chosen a developmental path that is fully anchored on the principles of the SDGs and provides a solid platform for a Ghana beyond aid. This developmental path cannot be achieved through business as usual, but requires innovation and cost-effective solutions that would inure to the benefit of all Ghanaians. At a time, ladies and gentlemen, when events elsewhere have evoked some doubts about the progress that we've made as a government, this is a triumph for local content and a boost for the Ghanaian economy. MTN has set a high standard through this IPO. Now it must meet its investors' expectation and the public at large. These expectations include both the return on their investments as well as the quality of products and services. I have no doubt that the management and employees of MTN Ghana will continue with their zeal in providing quality services and improved financial performance to the satisfaction of all stakeholders. The government of Ghana, under His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, recognizes the dynamism of the telecoms industry and the enormous benefits of a digital economy to the Ghanaian citizenry. We will therefore ensure that the required frameworks and incentives are put in place to encourage such steps. Finally, on the occasion of MTN's first trading, may I also extend my warmest congratulations to all those involved in taking forward this important project by educating both the new potential investors and the issuers. On this note, I wish to thank all for coming. I wish MTN well and look forward to a successful trading, and definitely next week I'll be monitoring the share price on the stock market. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, Deputy Minister. I'm sure you won't be disappointed in the share price of MTN. This is the main reason why we're here. But before we do that, I would like you guys to help us move a few things. Those of you who have your microphones here, kindly move them. Me, could you move these chairs? Don't put them on the wing, they'll transfer them. Ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the tolling of the bed and declaration of listing. To do that for us, we have the Chairman of Council, Mr. Albert Asian. Before he comes up, I'd like to mention a few names who will have to come round to assist him to do that. Mr. Asian, please. We have Dr. Ishmael Jansen. Please join us, humbly. Honorable Minister, please join us. Mr. Dadivo, please come. Mr. Gbami Tete, Mr. Matt Ojes, Mr. Kweku Sechiado. Please, come down. Sorry. Yes. We have Mr. Kenashide, Mrs. Osafo Anyonam, Mr. Abalu, Kwabna, and David, please. I will explain. Then, yes. I think we have it all. Please join us. Yes. Just a second. What's going to happen is that I'll give the mic to Mr. Albertasian to do the declaration, and then those down here will ring the bell while the others clap, and then you ring for as long as your energy can allow. Yes, so
by the power conferred on me by the Council of the Exchange, I formally declare MTN Ghana listed, and also for trading to commence in the shares of MTN under the acronym MTN. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Just kindly stay on for thank you. Thank you very much. May resume your seat. Thank you. Ms. Yamson, please don't go. Yes, I'll bring the lantern back so that please bring the lantern back. Oh. Thank you, sir. Hello. We now have the closing remarks by Dr. Ishmael Yamson.
Thank you very much. As all the speakers before me have said, today is a historic day. And indeed, it's for me a very special day as well. This is the third time I'm being here. And I remember Those days, trading was done by chalk and a blackboard. So when I entered here, I said, wow, this is something very exciting indeed. A whole new digital world led by MTN indeed. Now you heard all the great speeches. Now for me as chairman of the board of directors, my miserable life begins. You heard the DG of SEC talk about disclosure and transparency. You also heard about ensuring that our investors are made happy and that they don't regret investing in our shares, in our equity. We have a big responsibility as a board and as a company. We need to demonstrate a duty of good faith to all the people who have invested in our company, a duty of care, a duty of skill, and a duty of diligence. And that's what I promise all those who have invested in MTN, that we will deliver those duties. We have done in the past, and we will continue to do so in the future. It will interest you to think that this whole new world is led by an old man like me. But I believe strongly that the age is in the mind. You can be old and have an old mind. You can also be old and have a very youthful mind indeed. MTN is a very vibrant company. MTN is a very honest company. MTN has unquestionable good corporate governance culture and framework. So for those of you who have put your money in MTN, rest assured, you could never have had a better company to invest in. We've been able to do this not on our own. When we started the discussions, listed on the Ghana Stock Exchange was not one of our priorities. But we thought deep. Today, we believe that is the best option we took. You see, when we talk about democratizing capital, this is a good example. When I went to my village, my little sister told me, I bought empty shares. I said, how did you buy? She said, my mobile phone. We made it possible for Ghanaians everywhere to have access to the shares. The shares were offered to everybody everywhere. And as you heard, everybody who applied will get his or her shares. Am I right? So I'd like to thank the executive of MTN, our regulators, especially the NCA, the SEC, the GSE, who are our new regulator, the Bank of Ghana, because I read somewhere and say, oh, but if they transfer the money, can we pay? But we are a very responsible company. We know how to live as a responsible citizen in a country. And we will do nothing to undermine the monetary environment of Ghana. I'd like to thank Archie Securities and their team, they saw the good side of me, the bad side of me, and the ugly side of me. But in all situations, we came to an amicable agreement. And that's why we are here. We met the deadlines. And I must say that the GSC were very anxious that we list. And they gave us enormous assistance. The NCA did, the SCE did. And I think our being here, MTN listed on this exchange, should be a great motivator to many companies to list on this exchange. I remember when Unilever first listed, we were the first multinational company ever to list. And we listed when Unilever itself was not on any stock exchange anywhere in the world. But we listed here. And that encouraged many other companies to follow. So I hope MTN listing will motivate many companies. Because you see, MTN's outstanding performance will be the greatest motivator to many companies to come here. And so I thank all of you. I thank all the Ghanaians who demonstrated faith in MTN and decided that they will invest in this company. We will not let you down. We have never let anybody down today. We won't let anybody down tomorrow, not in the future. I thank all of you here for joining us this morning, and I thank the Stock Exchange for making it possible for us to list. God bless all of you. God bless our great nation, Ghana.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Ishmael Jansen. He say that when the chief speaks, no one speaks again. So it's very appropriate. But before, I believe the Honorable Minister did mention that he'll be watching the share price. So I'll call on the General Manager Operations to explain the trading that we've just witnessed in MTN. Mrs. Elizabeth Matikole.
Hello. Right. We've had our first trading in MTN. MTN's initial public offer was 0.75, that's 75 pesos. But after it was pronounced listed on the stock exchange, we had one trade. There were some offers, that is people wanting to sell, and also some wanting to buy. Interestingly, still people wanted. So a lineup of that, quite a number, and offers are still coming in. There's a screen to my far right. You may not see it, but up here is a summary of whatever happens in any listed security on the market. And I'm glad to inform you that the price of MTN shares has gone up to 0.78, and 100 shares have been traded. The market is opened until 3 p.m., so I believe there will be a number of transactions since we have a lineup of bids, people wanting to buy. Thank you very much. So if you have any order to submit, the brokers are around. Please get in touch with your broker, place an order, and it will be done for you on the floor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Matikole. So already new MTN shareholders or all MTN shareholders are 0.3 pesos richer. Thank you so much. We've come to the end of We've come to the end of the program. And although Dr. Yamson has said thank you, I'd still like to add my voice and say that on behalf of the Stock Exchange, on behalf of the SEC, the CSD, all the brokers and MTN itself, we want to say a very big thank you to you for honoring the invitation to be here this morning. And MTN has been generous enough to offer us some refreshments upstairs, and there will be ushers around to lead you upstairs. Those of you who are visiting here for the first time, we want to thank you so much for coming, and we thank God for making this day and ceremony possible. Thank you very much. Before we go, we'd like to invite all of you for a photo shoot. So the photographer should please help with the arrangement, the seating arrangement, especially the board, council members, MTN executives, and all invited guests. So you'll call them in batches for it. Thank you very much. Yeah. Before, I think we'll have Mr. Yamson, Dr. Yamson, Mr. Albert Eason, the minister, and then the CEO of MTN, please. Council members of the GSC present. Matt, IT security, please join them. Yes, please, you're afraid. Mr. Balu. Mr. Ashibe. Wait. Oh. Executives from MTN, please stand by. You next, all of you. Yeah. Please, those sitting, please continue to sit. You're joining. The executives are coming. Plenty and stuff. All executives, please. MTN executives here, please. All staff of staff of MTN present, be ready. Please come down. Those upstairs. All staff of MTN. After them, staff of IC Securities. Then after that, you have GSC staff and CSD staff together. No. Thank you very much. Staff of MTN, join. If you are a staff, stay. So please, all other staff of MTN, please join them. Oh. Oh, Council Chairman, you present. Yes, move forward. There's space. Those of you out there, kindly move down so that some of us, some of them can also move up. Yes.
It's a historic picture.
Yes. Everybody should be part of history. Thank you. IC security staff, please. IC security, please be snappy about it. IC security, please. Governor David, we're waiting for you. All the advisors, all other advisors, please join them. Yes. GSC staff, please get ready. Don't worry.
Enough smiling.
Yeah, thank you very much. Before the GSC staff, let's have the project team, the team from MTN that worked on it. Project team, are you here? The project team, MTN. Yes. GSC, SCC, CSD, please get ready. Reverend Mr. Balu, CSD team here, GSC, please join. Thank you very much. CSD, all regulators. Please, can you move on so they can come in? Come, please. Mrs. Matekole. Joyce. Where are they? Hey, why? Where's Mrs. Matekole? Thank you very much. Thank you. Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Yes. Yeah. Please, you'll be led to the boardroom of the SA. Please, all the dignitaries move to the boardroom where you came from. Kindly go there. And all others, kindly move up for refreshment. Thank you very much. I did.
Oh,